So today we're going to basically be showing you different rhythms and different cycles of time and how to work with these different cycles and time based on, you know, periods or lengths of time, or what we call cycles, and then also the different types of energies at play, and then the different levels of intensity as well. And then how do we take all of these elements, all of these, let's say, spinning plates? Time is just, you know, rotation per cycle, i.e. per second, per cycle. Energy and motion, time. And so how do we take all of these energies, all of these spinning plates, and infuse them into our life? So today's reading is going to be is going to basically be about that. So I'm going to do like a channeled message, and it's going to be pretty live because, like I said, I've not I've not spent hours on this presentation. I'm going to have to do certain things in real time, which is great because you'll kind of see how my brain just adapts and builds certain constructs and narratives live, because that's the way it should be anyway. And so we always want to work with our intuition. We always want to tap into our intuition. So all of these tools, as I said, what they're doing is they're allowing you to tap into your intuition. They're allowing you to tap into your symbol literacy. They're allowing you to tap into synchronicity. They're allowing you to tap into meaning making and sense making. And outside of knowing thyself, outside of knowing yourself, as I said, everything else is representational or inferred. And so we can only get close to God, one, if we recognize the God in us, or two, we start to see these signs and symbols as inferences, as hints for the men of understanding and women of understanding. So unless we can do those two things, we're never going to be able to get close to the truth. There's always going to be a certain level of distance. There's always going to be an illusion of separation. And so obviously on this channel, we teach oneness principles. All is self, the self is all is one is all is none, none is all. And oh yeah, just got another synchronicity talking about the jack of all trades, the master of none. And when we're saying none, by the way, we're talking about that 0 point energy, that place, that's it's not even really a space. Space would be a misnomer of a term, but just not to keep it too technical. That space of pure potential, that place of pure potential is represented through the 0, through the womb, through the portals, the cosmic egg, essentially. So all for none and none for all is the saying. And obviously the allness is represented in either the number 9 or the number 1, depending on how you wanted to flip it. But we'll go with the number 1 because I'll be teaching you some things today about why 9 is, I might even just go into it a little bit, why 9 is special, but maybe not as special as you think. It's based on something even deeper, this number 9 that everyone reveres so highly. So yeah, like I said, without further ado, let's get into today's presentation. So as usual, it'll take me like 20 seconds to sort my screens out and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, let's go. Obviously as well, any questions as well, make it as interactive as you need. If I'm going too fast, if there's anything that you don't understand or anything that just catches your eye, then let me know. Chai Garden's up in the building. Yeah, we actually got what I'm going to call regulars. Like I said, if you've been there twice, you're a regular. So these are names that I recognize. This is kind of what I wanted to get to, because I could have pre-recorded this video, but I really enjoy going live. I really enjoy interacting with people. So yeah, like I said, I'll go live if I thought there were 3 people. I'd always go live over me just chatting into a mic and yeah, speaking into a mic by myself, basically. I'd always go live because I could just feed off that energy. So yeah, 3 people's enough for me. The number of creation. Let's go. Let's create. So All right, cool. So February update 2025. Birth of the Ethiopians. I've been holding on to this name for a while. I just saw this name today. So Ether is like Ethiopians, Ethiopians. So you know me, I love a play on words. Really, really enjoy a play on words. And yeah, the Ethiopians. So obviously Ether is the word for the spirit essentially. Chi, spirit, ether. So ether is like the old school scientific name for the universal energy that pervades all, that is the substrate of everything. So yeah, Ethiopians, just like Ethiopians. I was like, how have I never seen that one before? I even Googled that as well, just for the fun of it. I even Googled that one day for the fun of it. I never saw anyone use it. So yeah, I've held on to that. I've held on to that one for a month. Yeah, it's a birth of the Ethiopians. And obviously the reason why I've done that is because that's what we're doing. We're looking to tap into the ethers. Essentially, every single thing that I do is how can we emanate from that source? How can we emanate from that source point, which is the ether? And so, yeah, if you're someone that is into tapping into the ethers, tapping into the chi, all of these kind of stuff, then yeah, you can get, yeah, then you're my people. And I might start calling you like the Ethiopians. We'll see how that one sits first before I go. All right, so this is the calendar system. This is the calendar system. So, like I said, I've built a divination. I built an omni calendar system. So we've got about, and this isn't all of it as well, because there is astrology as well, but I've got other things to just show you the astrology that's a little bit neater. But yeah, so I've built a calendar system that gives me the different energies for the day. Now, the main thing to understand is that there is no right or wrong, in my eyes, at the highest levels. There is just wholesome and unwholesome. There is just things that will allow you to be coherent, and there will be things that will disrupt your flow, meaning you become discoherent. So what you need to understand is this energy interfering in a way which is wholesome, or is it interfering in a way which is disruptive? And so when we're thinking of time, we're not thinking about time, certain times being better than others. We're seeing whether certain times are rhythmically in harmony with the will that we, and when I say we, I'm saying getting yourself into a space where the we becomes the universal energy, and there is no separation between self and the outside. So the lines between subject and object, the lines between me and you become so blurred that it forces you to see the oneness. So again, this is not something that you can really teach easily. Like I've tried to, that's what these first, I don't know, let's say 15 videos that I've done is about, is to try and give you some indications. But like I said, I've been someone that I've been teaching for like 10 years, you know, understands it perfectly logically. They actually understand the logic. They could argue it maybe even better than myself in terms of how it works. But the embodiment is something that you would need to move beyond the books. You would need to move beyond the books in order to really embody and live it, essentially. You really would. And so once you do that, you basically understand that time is not necessarily about linear time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or this calendar is better than another calendar. It's about understanding which systems are in harmony with your will and with what you're trying to do, basically, your intentions and attention. So as I said, you know, we are the AI. You know, I repeated that line the other day. That's a line from the other day. We are the AI. Intention or attention and intention. That is our superpower. that allows us to be beyond even any supercomputer that will ever exist, because of the fact that we are biological beings and computers are silicon based. But anyway, so in this calendar system, like I said, so I'm just going to go through it a little bit, but I do have other videos. There's one other video where I can't even remember what it is, where I break down the year 2025, and it takes, and I think I showed this calendar system in that as well. But there's also another video where I know I've broken it down, but I'll kind of do a little bit of it again, because obviously this is fresh data anyway. This is based on the 1st of February. So this is all about, you know, understanding the energy of February. So the first thing to say is that we always focus on the energy that is bringing in that cycle of time. So what is the energy that is bringing in that cycle of time? So what we're doing is it's similar to your birth chart. When you have a birth chart, all that really captures is that time of birth. So let's just say you were born, so let's just say you were born 12 o'clock, 1st of February. But from then, obviously, because as we know, the only thing that changes, the only thing that stays the same is change, or the only constant is change. So because we understand that everything changes in this universe, we understand that that snapshot just captured a single point in time. And the reason why people, the reason why it's difficult for people is because they don't understand, for example, their transits and progression. So this is not I'm not going to get heavy into astrology, but until you can understand your transits and possessions, your transits and progressions, you're always going to be stuck in a certain level of linearity and a certain level of stagnation, because you're not working with the rhythm of your birth chart. The birth chart there is a rhythm that you can find when you study your transits. So you could just look this up yourself. This is definitely not me breaking down any astrology today, transits and progressions, but you can chat GTP it, you can watch a video on it. But essentially what this does is it tracks where you are, where your star sign is, or where your energies are from when you were born to where you are now, i.e. today. So just because the moon was in Aquarius at 10 degrees when you were born 20 years ago, okay, so where is it now? Where is that moon now, and how does that relate to your birth chart? So these are all the things that you would be able to track when you understand progressions and transits. But obviously this is like, you can just go to astroseek.com and you can find, your transits and progressions. Obviously it will take a bit of time to learn. But again, if you're serious about this stuff, you do the knowledge. It's just like literally, you will do the knowledge. So all that is to say is that what we're looking at today is the snapshot of the energy similar to the birth chart that is bringing in the energy for the month. So this is me just taking a snapshot of the calendar system, obviously on the 1st. And this is just, by the way, this is a British system. So in Britain, obviously, we count the days first and then the months. Obviously, I know I have some American people that will be listening, where you obviously count the months first and the American. So it's just switched around. So this is the 1st of February, which is what we're moving into. And that 1st of February will become the 32nd day. EC, like, again, I didn't have time to neaten this up just because I was in a bit of a rush today, but EC is the Ethiopian calendar. So just understand that we've got the G date, which is the Gregorian calendar. So the calendar that most people will know is the Gregorian calendar. So, 1st of January, that's all based on the Gregorian calendar. The Ethiopian calendar is 9/11, coincidentally. So their New Year's Day is 9/11. So we're 143 days away from 9/11. And then based on SG, which is my system, like Sono system. So my system follows the Syrian calendar system, Sirius. So as you know, in ancient Egypt, Sirius and Orion were most exalted. And you could argue that Sirius was even more exalted because their calendar system, in terms of when their new year was in ancient Egypt, and also in Mesoamerica as well, many of the countries in Mesoamerica. So basically, again, in terms of that, like fingerprints of the gods, all throughout the continents for some reason. We don't know why, obviously, or you can speculate why, but for some reason, you know, places that had never spoken to each other all revered, or many of them revered, Sirius. And so when Sirius was above their sky, that would be their New Year's, and that would be roughly around mid to end July. Obviously, it changes every year. And so just similar how we just have January the 1st, or in the Gregorian calendar, you have January the 1st as your New Year as a set date every single year. You know, there were many cultures that did that. So we basically go off of the 25th of July. So I'm going to show you, I've been hinting at a system that I may have mentioned it a few times, but again, it's one of these quite advanced stuff, so I had to wait. And today's the day where I'll give some more information on it. But based on a South American system called the Olmecs, or the Mayan, so the Mayan calendar system, that's based off of the 25th of July, for example, specifically. And so 25th of July, we're 190 days away from the 25th of July. Sorry, we're 190 days away from. So why days? The reason why we would understand days is because all ancient people had many systems of counting. Counting the months is arguably not as important as counting the days. So for example, in the Mayan system, when you were hearing those things around 2012 and the world ending 2012, they even made a film of it, 2012, it was all based on the Mayan calendar system, because their calendar system has basically has something called the long count. And the long count is them counting the days and placing way more importance on it above the months, the years, or whatever their cycles were. It was the days. So when you start tracking the day cycle, you start tapping into different energies, because you're breaking time down to its minutia. Essentially, you're breaking it down to its minutia. So I think last week I may have mentioned that one of the things that you want to do is you want to work out how old you are in days. That's one of the keys to this, understanding how old you are in days. So obviously anyone that's into numerology and that's converting. So for example, we understand that today is a 3. So we've got the 9, 20. So I'll just do this again. I'll respect the people that don't know about numerology and how to reduce down to a digital root or to a single digit. So we have the 20, or we have the 2. Zeros you don't need to count, because obviously that doesn't add anything. So you just say 2, add 2 is 4, add 5 is 9. Anytime you see 9, it's a magic number. So anytime you see the 9, this 1 and then this 2, 3. So really I can just tell from looking at this that today's numerology number based on the Gregorian calendar is the number 3. But just to be a bit slower, I'll slow it down for you lot. So 9 add 3 is 12, and then 1 add 2 is 3. So you always want to reduce it down to a single digit. So today we're on the day of the 9. It's the Gregorian number day of the 9. But that's only if you follow the Gregorian system. So today is going to be the first time where I basically show you why it is absolutely imperative for you to not just follow the Gregorian calendar system. If you do that, you're limiting your rhythm. If we understand everything is rhythm, everything is about flow states, by you only following one calendar system, you're locked into one view of time. And I'm not saying the Gregorian calendar system is evil. I'm not going to go that far. Obviously, there are some people that believe it. But essentially, it means that you're going to be out of sync with many of the other rhythms at play within the universe, within the galaxy, within Earth. And so that's the importance of why this video for me is so crucial, and why I don't mind spending taking a little bit more time breaking down to you why you should even be interested in a system like mine, where I've added many of the rhythms, many of the cycles, and done a lot of the hard work for you. Because obviously if you were to do all this yourself, it'd probably take you weeks, months, or stuff like that. Who knows? So so it's beautiful that we've started today. So again, this 143 for me is personally important. So I create my story is the number 43. So 143, you say the word 43. So you're getting into the phonetics. So this is like, again, this video, we're going to get into the science. So phonetically, how you say a word is going to be how that word is what? Spelled. So you're spelling from the phonetics based on how you are saying the word. So we say 100. So one takes its own, has its own essence, and then so does the number 43. So we don't say 14.3, we say the number 143. Just like with 190, we say 190. So we're looking at the 1 and we're looking at the 9 as two distinct, let's say, well, not even let's say, this would represent the outer energy and this would represent the inner energy. This would represent the father, this would represent the mother, just to be clear, like, just to be clear. Like we understand that from energy and, I'll say it. So again, like I said, we're going to start to rip off the Band-Aid, the Band-Aid with this. So valence, shell, atom. Let me just show you something just so you can see it physically. So again, I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff live, just pulling up stuff that I feel to go to, because today is heavily a freestyle to a degree. Like I've prepared some stuff, obviously. All right, cool. So my mouse is also not working today, really well. So it's another thing. All right, cool. There you go. All right, so this is called a valence shell. So when you're understanding energy, this is an atom. So whether you're, so basically you're studying potassium, and so potassium, it will have its concentric circles. Even as I'm looking at this, I'm seeing something is coming into my mind that has not come before. So I'll just say what I'm feeling at the moment. So what I've basically said is that time works like a ripple effect, like a standing wave. So when you drop a pebble in the ocean, so imagine this being the waters of Nun, or imagine this being the ether. Imagine this white space being ether. And these, anything that you can see would represent physical matter to a degree. Like an atom is physical, although it's also a wave, but let's just keep it physical for now. So you drop this pebble, i.e. this K, in the middle of the ocean or in the middle of a body of water, and it would create a ripple effect. Yeah, it doesn't matter which one, they're all the same. It would create a ripple effect. What we're basically saying is that each point from here, if you imagine a line from there, this would be 1 cycle per second, this would be 2 cycles per second, this would be 3 cycles per second, this would be 4 cycles per second. What we're essentially saying is that each one of these concentric circles is a metaphor for time. Is a metaphor for time. So when we're understanding rhythms, we're understanding that the universe is curved, and obviously if the universe is curved, that means everything goes back to a circle. That's why a circle is so holy. That's why a circle is the most holiest. It's the holy of the holies, like literally. So because of this, we're basically saying that all we're trying to do in astrology, numerology, with anything, is map out what its energy is. So this would be, let's say, the substance. This would be like its, let's say, personality, its characteristics. And then this would be how it moves in time and space. So when you're seeing the number 143, the 100th number, which is the bigger number, 100 is obviously bigger than 43. Obviously the first number is always bigger, would represent the outer shell. So that would be representative of the outer energy. And female energy obviously is energy that contracts, that is centripetal, goes inwards. And then male energy is energy that is electric, that goes outwards. So the outermost shell is called a valence electron. So this is the configuration of atoms in potassium. This is what it looks like in potassium. This is what the configurations of potassium looks like, basically. And so you can see a 1 pattern on the outside. You can see I don't know, what is that? 7 on the inside and so on and so forth. So when you start looking at atoms from this perspective, it kind of changes your understanding of the numbers, essentially. So yeah, like I said, we're going to start going a bit more advanced. Like we're going to start taking off the stabilizers with this stuff. So me looking into valence electrons, that's the stuff that I look into. Like that's the level that I take it to. I go even further, but you know, it is what it is. So anyway, 143, the 1 would represent the male, the 43 would represent the female. So we've got the 43. So my business, my limited companies, I've said, it's called I Create My Story. Obviously, everything that I teach is all about you creating your own story. Like literally, that's all I'm really here to teach, is how do you become the center of your universe? How do you encode your reality? Not just be a receiver of reality. How do you understand that divine will goes through you, flows through you, is a part of you? You are God and God is you. Again, if you can't take that as a statement, then, you know, meditate on it more. And with that, we understand that we create our own stories, or we are at the very least the co-creator of our reality. And so the number 43 is I create my story. That number 1 is also seen as an octave. So in music theory, you obviously have 7 notes, but on a keyboard, well, it basically works off of an octave. So there's 88 keys on a keyboard. So it recycles every 8 back to the 1. So the first octave, so that 100 is also seen as a first octave. Like it would be a deep note. Like obviously as you get higher pitched, it goes from a ooh to a ee. So this 143 would represent like an ooh sound. So I create my story. Then we have the 19. So we're on the 190th day. Sorry, the 19 day, and so then we've got the 1 and the 9, the alpha and the omega. The first number of the I am, and then the last number of the I am in our system. So that's really beautiful as well, because obviously we're speaking about Sirius. We're speaking about the fact that this is the system that I've chosen to put my New Year's Day. So whilst you lot were celebrating, or whilst many people were celebrating the 1st of January as their New Year's Day, that was just one of my 20 New Year's Days that I have during out the year. Probably more than 20 New Year's Days I celebrate throughout the year. So like I said, I'm trying to make every day auspicious. How can I turn every single day into magic? Well, I would need to understand different rhythms and different cycles. So in green is the start of a cycle. So it's where we're going to get into the second cycle. So we've obviously started the cycle, or we're just about to move into a new cycle of the cycle of February based on the Gregorian calendar. Now, finally, today's video, I'm very, very happy. Take a sip. Get that one there as well. Don't know what I'm doing. So we have the 19, but in the kin, we have the 29. Now, what is kin? We get into it. The kin is the Mayan calendar system. If it wasn't for somebody called Jose Arguelles, this calendar is not created. If it's not for Jose Arguelles, I'm not understanding the importance of working with what we call quote unquote divine time. So I credit my introduction into understanding the rhythms and cycles of time and how you can get trapped in time depending on the system that you follow. Think about it. If the 3rd dimension is physical reality, the 4th dimension obviously is time. So in order for you to get to the 5th dimension, you would need to master time, because the higher times control the lower times, or the higher vibrations or the higher dimensions have dominion over the lower dimensions, not the other way around. So the 4th dimension has dominion over the 3rd dimension. That would be its ruler. So we are ruled by time. So in order to break out of the cycles of time and move into 0 point time, move into divine time, we would need to master 3D time, i.e. linear time. We can only do that if we start from a physical perspective, because it all starts, the universe is mental. So it starts with the physical act of understanding different rhythms, different cycles of time. Understanding that you are a multidimensional being and that each cycle represents an aspect of your multidimensionality. You have all 9 numbers in you. Each one of these numbers is a dimension. The first dimension, second dimension, third dimension, so on and so forth, up to 9 dimensions. I don't have the report on me because I got rid of it and bring up too much stuff, but our brain is shown to think in 11 dimensions. So I had a great art club yesterday. I don't know if I'll be able to get it. Again, we're freestyling. So 11 dimensions of time. If I can get this article, because they actually show you what the 11 dimensions are. What are, because I had read about this article about 2 years ago, but I didn't actually read what the actual 11 dimensions were. So yesterday when I was prepping for my other podcast, I basically saw all of the 11 dimensions. So if I can get it up really quickly, obviously. No, that's M theory. That's getting a bit too deep. No, we're not doing that stuff. 11 dimensions of the brain. 11 dimensions. What are the? Let's see. So yeah, basically our brain thinks in 11 dimensions. If you've never heard that before, then you should get to know that. Do they have the 11 dimensions here? No. All right, cool. We'll skip. Our brain thinks in 11 dimensions. So if our brain thinks, so if the brain that is evolved, and remember the brain is not the be all and end all, the brain is, you know, a construct from the universal mind. But if that construct in quote unquote 3D reality is thinking in 11 dimensions, you would have to ask yourself, why are we only working with 1 dimension of time, i.e. the Gregorian calendar or whatever calendar system you use? It doesn't make sense. It's actually anti-nature. I'm being a bit strong with it, but based on the latest science, working with 1 calendar system is anti-nature. So back in the day, you would at least work with 2 calendar systems. What calendar systems would they be? Obviously the sun and the moon. You would obviously work with 2, your almanac, which is like, the farmer's manual for seasons, for tracking seasons. They would obviously work with at least 2, the moon cycle, the sun cycle. In the very least, if you're working off of 2 cycles, you at least give yourself a chance to balance the yin and the yang. So by us only working off of the Gregorian calendar system, we're only working with the yang. We're only working with the male energy. We're just working with the sun energy, which is archetypically male. So again, we are unbalanced. So basically, we are in the 209th day of the Mayan calendar system. Now, let me just pull up this article. So I prepared a couple of articles that will just kind of chop up quickly. Like I said, my mouse is F today. All right, cool. Yeah, it'll take me a few more seconds long to bring up stuff. So, Jose Arguelles. For me, this guy's a genius. And I wouldn't use that word lightly. So this guy, Jose Arguelles, is a genius. Like he's inspired a lot of the work that I do. Literally, if I reflect back on myself, where I am now, I definitely understand that one of the things I'm here to do is understand cycles, seasons, patterns. This is clear as day. This is clear as day. And I'm saying that Jose Arguelles was my wake-up call. That he was my inception point into that way of thinking. into a complete paradigm shift. And so in this chapter here, basically in this book, like there's so many books, but he has loads of books. He also has created his own oracle system as well. He's basically created his own divination system. So in terms of like, obviously people have seen what, or, you know, obviously it's obvious what I'm kind of doing. And a lot of it is inspired by Jose Arguelles, even to the point of where once you understand the rhythms, why not create your own rhythms and your own divination systems? It would make perfect sense. So basically this 60-12 science. So basically we're based off of, so the Gregorian calendar, and not just, and to be very specific, we're not just talking about the Gregorian calendar. We're talking about since Babylon. So since Babylon, we have been working off of the 60 system. In many cultures, we'll just have this up anyway for now. In many cultures, or let's just say in today's culture, we follow the base 9 or base 10 system. So when we get to the number 9, we start again. It's so crazy that most people will go through their life or will get very far in their life and not realize that that is an artificial construct. There is nothing in nature that says that when you get to the number 10 or when you get to the number 9, you have to start again. That is not how nature works. As I said, nature works off of many systems and many rhythms. But to be practical, obviously it makes sense to define your rhythms. And so since Babylon, since Babylonian times, Sumerian times, we have worked off of the base system 10. In the book of Enoch, which is one of the books that didn't make the Bible, for example. Like, I'm not going to get the verse up today, because I'm not as prepared as I may have could have been. But there is a verse where they talk about people coming in and introducing their technology. They talk about this highly advanced nation basically overthrowing the authors of the Bible. Like, you know, overthrowing the authors of the Bible. Like this race coming in, or this group of people coming in. And they describe them as the people of the 10. They're coming in with all of their magic, their sorcery, and essentially their system of the 10. And then in the book of Enoch, it basically, once you understand the history of it, they weren't the people of the book of Enoch weren't working off of the system of the 10. They were basing their system off the base of the 9, of the 6. So after every 6, it goes back to 1. After every 6, it goes back to 1. So if you were counting up in binary code, i.e. using 1s and 0s, every single time you get to the number 1, you go back down to 0. So in binary code, or a base 1 system, I think it would be called a base 1 system. They just call it binary code, but I would assume it's a base 1 system because there is no number 2. So in a binary code system, just to be clear, so we're just doing stuff live. So in a binary code system, there is only 1s and 0s. And so the number, let's just say the number 190 in, I don't know if this will do it, to be honest. Like if I went into ChatGPT, it would show me, like I could do it quickly. All right, there you go. We got it there. So the number 15 is quadruple 1 in binary code. So 11111 is 15. And essentially you can kind of see, you can work it out yourself. Like I'm not going to go through how they do it because you can kind of just work it out by seeing it. But 1, 2, once it gets back to 2, it starts again, and then you get a 1, 1. Yeah, I'm not going to explain how to do it because we'll be here forever. But just trust me when I say this is the binary code, and number 15 in binary code is 11111. There you go. So my whole point is that we didn't have to construct numbers based on a base 10 system. That's clear. So we also didn't have to base our system on 60 seconds. So that 60-second system, 60 minutes, 60 seconds, 12 hours in a day, 12 months in a year. To our knowledge, that is a Babylonian, Sumerian system. Now, obviously, there are other systems that mimic that as well. But I'm saying in terms of like the earliest records that we have, it is that system. And so, depending on what your views on Babylon, I'm not going to go through like a history lesson on Babylon. But what I will just go through the arguments of Jose Arguelles. What Jose Arguelles is basically saying is that ever since we introduced the Babylonian system, the earth has been out of sync, or we as a people have been out of sync because it's out of balance with the divine feminine. Because since the Babylonian system, we've not really used the moon, and so we've been out of sync. Because again, you know, there has been let's just say a patriarchal dominant society. And if you understand history, you'll understand that at one point it was matriarchs. There have been matriarchals. There have been periods in time where there were matriarchal systems. So again, I don't know if people are aware of that, but this is a fact. And so again, it's not for me to say that patriarchy is better than matriarchy. This is not what I'm saying. I'm not arguing for either or. I'm arguing for balance. I'm arguing for Ma'at, who's a female deity, but yeah, I'm arguing for Ma'at, essentially. And the 13 system, the 13-20 system allows you to tap into the moon because there are 13 moons in a year. And what's even worse about the Gregorian system in particular is that there's no rhythm to it. Like I was having a conversation with someone a couple of days ago, and I was kind of being a bit pedantic with it because they weren't technically speaking my language, but I knew what they were trying to say. I was kind of playing about with them, in fairness. But essentially, there is no rhythm or cycle or season that can work with a circadian rhythm in the Gregorian calendar. Because 1 minute you're working off of a 30-day cycle, next minute you're working off of a 30-day system, then you're working off of a 31 system again. Then sometimes it goes to 28, then sometimes it goes to 29. So how does your body get used to that? It can't. It would be very difficult to be in rhythm with something that changes every 30 days, let's just say. So there is no consistency. You can't track a pattern, basically, in that system. So when you work with a calendar system that is perfectly aligned, there would be an equal length of days. So, for example, there are so look, we'll even get a calculator out. We'll just do this stuff real time so you look and see it. So there are 13 calendars, 13 moons, and then we times that by, my brain just went for a second, 28 days. So the moon roughly is 28 days, depending on which one you're tracking. Obviously, there's different ways to track the moon, between 27 and 29 days. Meeting in the middle, and to keep a consistent rhythm, we say 28 days. Just to keep it consistent, we say 28 days. And so, does anyone know what 13 times 28 is? 364. So we're 1 day out. But really, the Gregorian calendar is 1 day out. That's why you have a leap year. So obviously we know that it's 365 days, 0.25. But it's not even actually 0.25. Even that 0.25 is slightly out. It's 0.2 something else. And so I can't remember what it was, every couple of 100 years, there needs to be another shift as well. Like a great leap year or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, not to get too technical. Talking about the great leap year, not getting too technical. So we basically have 364 days, and then we have what is called a day out of time. So that 365th day would be seen similar to the Egyptian calendar. So in the Egyptian calendar, I don't know if anyone knows, the story of the Egyptian calendar is that they used to count 360 days. Now, there's a lot of theories as to why that is, but I'm not going to go into that for today's conversation. But they used to basically have, just make sure that YouTube is up and running. Give me a shout if anyone is still here. Give me a shout if people are hearing me loud and clear. Like I said, my screen is working a bit funny today, so I just want to make sure people are still on the chat. And it's good that this is going on. So anyway, let's continue. So calendar. So the 365th day would be a day out of time. Would be the day out of time. But what you're doing there is you get a perfect rhythm of what? 7 days. Because obviously every 7 days, 7 times 4 is 28 days. So you get into the harmony of the 7, a perfect harmony of the 7, and a perfect harmony of the 4, and a perfect harmony of the 13. So 4 times 7 times 13 is, of course, 364. And then we have a day out of time, which is essentially New Year's Day. Or New Year's Eve, should I say. It would be New Year's Eve. So that day out of time would be seen as New Year's Eve, and that would be a celebration. And so many, many cultures who followed the moon would have this day out of time and would have this system of just one day where they don't track it in time. What you're doing, what you understand here is that when you work with a system like this, all the days become the same, or all of the days become recognized through very clear and easy to understand patterns that wouldn't need you having to remember whether each month. And obviously we've got that song that, like, I don't even know what that song is off by heart, that teaches you when it's 30 or 31 days in a month. Like, I actually don't know off by heart. Like, I would, if you were giving me a test right now, I would really struggle. Like, I wouldn't get it right, basically. I'd be guessing. Like, I'd be guessing. So with something like this, you wouldn't need to put in any guesswork, because all you need to do is remember the cycle of 7, 4, and 28. Or any one of those numbers will bring you to 64 somehow. So again, this is one of the key reasons of why we move with different times. If we are to return to living in the cycle of nature, we will bring heaven on earth. But if we cannot return to living in the cycles of nature, we will create hell on earth. And so basically he goes through a painstaking argument to say that the Babylonian systems that have been installed, you can agree or disagree, I'm not here to really put my opinion on it for today, is the fall of man. That signified the fall of man. And so in order to break free from the cycle of the fall of man, you need to change the calendar system, because the calendar system is inherently built into a particular rhythm. So yeah, just like, I'm not going to go through this article, but yeah, we work off of the 13, and then we work off of the 20. The 21 is less clear. It's less clear, but there are 20 archetypes that are seen in the Mayan calendar system. So the 20 archetypes would be seen as like almost like the 20 rulers. I'm not going to say that they're planets, because they're not based on planets, but they're based on, you know, Mayan mathematics, Mayan science, the Mayan science. And so when you times 20, again, we've got a calculator here, we can do things real quick. So when you times 20 times 13, you get 260. So again, I told you that the Mayans have many calendar systems. Their main calendar system is working off of a 260 count. So one of their calendar years, just whenever you hear the word calendar, just think a cycle. One of their calendars works off of a 260 cycle. And it's their most important one. It's their sacred one, let's just say. So it works off of 20 archetypes and 13 what we call tones. So the tones are like the vibration, you know, the rhythms of that moon. Just like how you've got each moon, you've got the wolf moon and so on and so forth, blood moons and stuff like that. You've got a name for each one of the moons as well in the Mayan system. And so when they went back to zero, that was based on galactical time. So I'm not going to get into that too heavy, but basically the Mayan system works with galactic time. The Gregorian calendar works with sun time. So again, it's not to say which one is better, but you know, clearly I've now given you some choices. All right, I don't need that stuff. All right. So all we're doing here is tracking, so up from the 143 to the 209, we're tracking, let's say, the number of days in that particular calendar system from here to here. Then from the 7 to the 5-2, we're tracking smaller rhythms of time. So these ones would represent the year, tracking the year. And then these ones would track smaller periods of time. So this particular system tracks, so this particular one tracks the 13 moons based off of the Sirius New Year. So this is all based off of everything that you see now below is now based off of the Sirius New Year of July the 25th. So in July the 25th, we're on our 28th cycle of 7. We're in our 28th cycle of 7. Our 28th week, essentially. In the Mayan, in the again, based off the July 25th, we're in our 15th cycle of 13. And in the cycle of the moon, which is 28 days, didn't write the 28 days, we're in our 7th cycle. So we're in our 7th moon. So again, this is, yeah, is what it is. I don't need to justify it anymore, like I said. So we're in our 7th cycle of the moon. So this is called something. These moons are called, these moons all have a name. I'm not really added it to this part of the calendar system, but basically they all have a name. So, and we're on our 23rd day of that. We're on our 23rd day of that. And then based on, just to be clear, again, maybe I'm not explaining it clear. I just want to make sure I'm even more clearer. What we're basically saying is that in the Mayan calendar system, or when you work on a system that has perfect rhythm, you can track the years more easier. And one classic example, or one very, very simple example, would be that Monday, for example, may always fall on the 1st of July. Or the Monday in this particular system is always going to be the 1st, if Monday is the first day of your year. So that's one of the benefits of a calendar system, is that the days then come in synchronicity with the year. So right now, because of the way the Gregorian calendar system is so unbalanced, the first day of the year, i.e. January the 1st, could be a Monday, it could be a Tuesday, it could be any day, and there is a certain pattern to it, but there's not that much of a pattern to it, not one that we can consciously be aware of. So in terms of another cycle that started, so one of the cycles, so today's a really big day basically. So this the 1st of February is an incredible day because it births 3 different cycles. It obviously births the month, which obviously, you know, that's obvious, but it also births the 209th day. The 209th day is extremely important. That's why this is colored. It signifies what we call the green castle. So let's just see this here. Again, we're going to get a calculator out. Perfect. Perfect. So based on the based on the 260-day cycle of the Mayan calendar system, the South American system, we are now entering into the 5th epoch, or the 5th stage of the year. The last 5th, the 5th of the year, basically, with the last 5th of the year, we're moving into what is called the Green Castle. So obviously, with any cycle, the last part of that cycle is the part of transformation. That is the part of the cycle where you are transforming, transcending. And so working off of the 260 system, this would represent your summer days. Could also represent your winter days, really. But again, just the ending period, basically the 5th cycle, is all about transcendence. And so I'm also saying that you can work off of a 52 cycle. So one of the reasons why this 260 system is so beautiful as well is because it works off of a 52 cycle. And so a 52 cycle also obviously is the same cycle of the 52 weeks. It's not the same cycle, but I'm just saying that this number 52 becomes a resonator. The number 52 becomes a resonator. So whether you're working in the Gregorian system or you're working with the Mayan system, the number 52 is resonant in both. So this number 52 takes on a real important significance. So when we're trying to harmonize and balance time, that would be one of the things that I would focus on. Okay, so as a syncretist, as someone that is into correspondence, where is there crossover and overlap with the systems? Because clearly they're two different systems, clearly they're two different ideologies, but can I find some form of synchronicity within these systems? And so of course we get the synchronicity through a 52 cycle. One has 52 weeks, one has 52 days, but 52 is 52. That would be its own frequency. Whether it's amplified over years, weeks, or months makes no difference. The vibration is the same. Just how 8 is 88 is 888. It's all the number 8. So the vibration is the same. Or it is harmonic, is a better way to put it. It is a harmonic number. So 52 is a harmonic number. So it's a great way to look at it. So practically, you can plan things in chunks of 52. There is a 52-year cycle as well, which is not in the Gregorian calendar. It's in other systems. There's a 52-year cycle in other systems. So again, this 52 number is just, it's clearly key. It's key. It's key across many cultures, basically. And then also as well, what this signifies is it signifies a third. So I'm just reading the chat because it's a long one. So I just want to respect the chat as well, especially if only a few of you on it. So, can your numbers explain the unique karma and strange synchronicities I get in my life? They become regular based on my unconscious actions to move and be helpful in my movements. Yes, I can. Of course I can. Have you reached out to me for a 10-minute taster? Or if you want a full reading, you can obviously pay for one as well. But obviously I'll give you a taster. I even actually recommend just getting a taster because you might not like what I have to say. You might never want to speak to me again after you actually hear what I have to say. So yeah, if you want to book a 10-minute taster, I'll put a link in chat. I'll do it now actually, because this will take me seconds to do. So link tree. So yeah, I may have it already in the description, but I'll just put it in the chat now. So yeah, book. So yeah, in this link is a link to my calendar system, and you can book a meeting. So everything I do is about synchronicities. Anyone that's had any of my readings before, like I know a couple of you guys have that are on this call, you understand how I break it down, and it's all based on synchronicity, essentially. So yeah, I would be able to explain that easily, but I need to speak to you first. Like I can't do things without speaking to the person, because I don't try to be a medium. Oh wow. You're crossing it. I want to speak to you then. So you see me on KP and KTO, yeah? Okay, so you're you see me on both. Obviously they're two different channels, but yeah, like yeah. So you see me on both. All right, cool. Yeah, so then just hit me up, man. Just hit me up, because yeah, I really enjoy speaking to people. So this is what I do. Like, do you know what I mean? So all right, cool. Anyway, let's keep it moving. So yeah, book a meeting anytime you want, and I should be able to attend. So this is incredible now, is the 13-day system cycle. So she's speaking about synchronicities, but I'm speaking about rhythms. Once you understand rhythms, you understand synchronicity. Vice versa. They go hand in hand in terms of helping each other. So that number that you may be seeing 5 all the time, it could be speaking to a rhythm. That could be a particular rhythm. Thank you very much. I look forward to speaking to you. So you might be seeing the number 2 and thinking, and you might then go to a numerology website and go like, it means partnerships or relationships, you know, number 2. That's like a classic thing for the number 2. But the number 2 that you're seeing could also be going into a rhythm that you need to be moving in. How many people have actually looked at a number and thought that this number that I'm seeing, maybe it's asking me to move into this particular vibration? Because all vibration is cycles per second. Cycles per second. That's all it is. So that number 2 is a 2 cycle per second, or a 2 cycle of whatever time. However you're tracking time, it could be 2 cycles per year. It could be 2. This is what I'm trying to say. You have to understand the season. It's quite difficult. This is why this may be a lifelong work for myself, and you know, I'm going to enjoy it every step of the way. But what is that cycle calling to? Okay, I'm seeing a number 2. Is it 2 years, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months? You see what I mean? So I was talking about the 52. Can work off the 52 days. 52 days is obviously very different to 52 weeks. So if you get that last bit of information wrong, then yeah, you'll be working in harmony, but you still may not be in what? Sync. You may be in harmony, but you may not be in sync. And so to be in sync, you would have to get 3 things right. Let's just work this out on top of my head. You would have to understand its vibration, its energy in the first place. So as I've said to you guys, you're not going to get the vibration most of the time just from reading a book. You may get some confirmation sometimes if you're lucky enough. But like I said, most of the times, these numbers are alive in you. Or they're asking you to be enlivened in that moment, resonant to that frequency, resonant to what that time, that point, space, and time. And by you going into books only and being only book knowledge, at a book knowledge level, you're going to be potentially missing out on context. This is really important. This is why we have to use energy and intuition as a key guide, as well as obviously books as well, if we so need. But then you need to know how to read the books. Bibliomancy, like how many of you understand bibliomancy in terms of turning any book into a divination system? So you can turn any book that you read and turn it into a divination system. I've shown people that live, and with incredible results every single time I do it. So anyway, you can look that up yourself. Today's not about that. So what I'm basically saying is that this tone works off of the 13-day cycle. So I'm saying that we're moving into a Gregorian calendar cycle that has no rhythm, but it's cool. we obviously track the day, so we're used to it. We're used to working out of sync. So this year obviously is 28 days, which is actually the 28-day cycle. So it's interesting that February, and this year we're not in a leap year, so it's interesting that February with 28 days is the only opportunity to tap in. That is the only month that allows us to rhythmically work with the moon naturally. Like, I even never thought about that until now. Just as I'm talking about these numbers, I'm just like, literally, it is the only day, it is the only month that allows us to work with the 28. And look, what day did they make Valentine's Day? What month did they make Valentine's Day? They made Valentine's Day in the month of February, the only day that focuses on the moon. Obviously, you could talk about Venus, but I'm going with the moon as in moon is emotions. I'm talking about the emotions. The volatility of emotions, obviously controlling them, which is controlled by the moon. So, anyway, we are also on a 13-day cycle. So, I basically work to a 13-day rhythm and a 13-month rhythm. So, a 13-month rhythm allows me to tap into the moon, and a 13-day rhythm also allows me to tap into the moon, but on a more micro scale, because we're reducing down. So what we're saying is, in that harmony, you could also then work to a 13-hour cycle or a 13 or the next one minute cycle. Do you see what I mean? You could meditate for 13 minutes to tap into a 13 cycle, or do a 13 count breath, a 13-second breath, or a 13-second holding of breath. This is how you tap into rhythms on a real physical level. I'm just giving you a lot of hints because obviously you need your spirit to move you. Yeah, harmony over synchronicity. Yeah, they go hand in hand. They will go hand in hand at some point, but yeah, for me, harmony is the key. But again, you want wholesome harmony. So the ideal idea is to work with harmonies that work with your natural rhythms. Or as the generator of the GOD, you understand the external generation and you understand the internal generation, the as above, the so below generation, and you harmonize the two. The only way you harmonize the two is by understanding cycles. I feel like I've said this about 10 times, but it is so important that if you don't get it, you're not going to be able to master time. You just won't be able to. You will be trapped in time, trapped under Satan, trapped under Saturn. Saturn controls the time. Saturn, Satan, say 10. Let me say that one again slowly for you lot. Saturn, time. Satan, evil. And I'm talking about the mythology of Satan. I don't care if you think it's real or not. Let's just go with the archetype of Satan, please. Let's grow up. The archetype of Satan would have something to do with time. Say 10. Say the number 10. The book of Enoch. People coming in with their system of 10 and fucking it up, basically. So all of these things are connected. The clues, the English language never lies. If you understand etymology, connotation, denotation, phonetics, once you understand these things, the English language is a clear, come on people, we must know it by now, a clear spell. Doesn't mean it's good or bad. Every single language is a spell. So English ain't the only one. It's just that English has encoded in its language so many other languages that it becomes like a master language. The English is a master language. Huh. Bro, I just started the book of Enoch again. Smashed. So that verse that I'm talking about is when they're talking about the angels coming down in their tens. and it's really early in the Book of Enoch. I can't remember the verse, but I feel like I'm pretty sure it's in the first chapter of the Book of Enoch, and they're talking about Satan or the fallen angel. They're talking about the fallen angel and his crew of 10, his groups of 10, and 10 people rule 10 people. So you had the 10 archangels, or let's say the 10 fallen angels. I think it's 20 actually, but 20 even goes into 10 because 10 and 10 is 20. Can't remember how many fallen angels there were. I believe it's 20, but I could be wrong. But either way, they quickly get into 10 and breaking up whatever the fallen angels were. They talk about breaking them up, and they give them 10 people that they rule over. So this is how armies were built back in the day. They were built off of, or a particular group of people broke it down into tens, into cycles of tens. So even religion, I don't know if people know this, but even religion technically means 10,000. So you was only a religion. You can basically, from a technical perspective, you can only be a religion if 10,000 people follow you. Anything shorter than that, you're just a cult. You're a cult. More than 10,000 people, you can call yourself a religion, which again is a cycle of 10, is a harmonic, is a resonant, is a resonator. So one of the terms, one of the terms I hear people use, which I like as well, is a resonator. So 10 is a resonator of 10,000, or 10,000 is a resonator of 10, because you're just taking away the zeros. So now would be a great time. What we're basically saying is today would be a real great time to tap into either rhythms of 52 through the 209, or sorry, February the 1st. So you've got a couple of days, 1, 2, 3 days. So you've got 1, 2, 3 days to mentally prepare yourself to move into a different rhythm. If you so choose, you do what you want in life. But you could, if you wanted to, move in with a galactic harmonic based on a day of 52 and or a rhythm of 13. And so, all right, go on, let me show you an exclusive. Like, this is something I've never shown anyone. I've never shown this on live, I don't think. All right, let me pull up something for you lot. Like I said, I'm freestyling a little bit, but yeah, feeling the energy, people, feeling the love. So why not? All right. But again, when you look become, so like whoever wants to join my inner circle, like there will be a time where I'm like, okay, cool. Whoever wants to come into the inner circle, let's go. Whenever that time is right, then I'll give you access to certain tools. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet. I'm not in a rush to do it right now, because like at the moment, I'm just like, not sure if people are really interested in this stuff. So again, I'm only as powerful as the energy I receive. So we'll see whether I release this for other people or not, or I just keep it to myself and have fun by myself. Where are we? What's it called again? I have so many documents. What do I call it again? Definitely get it up. I'm not there for. Been doing a lot of work with a lot of documents, so it's down the bottom. I can't even remember the name of it. Wow. Yeah, I've been working hard. I'm working hard. I don't know. I've opened up about. I've been working in about 100 different Excel sheets since I last used this sheet. What do I call it again? Cycles. I call it cycles of signs. Cycles. I call it cycles. Seasons. All right. If I don't remember the name in the next few seconds, I'm just gonna forget about it. All right. I feel like I would have put it in this folder. So what I was, oh yeah, so just while there's no dead air, let me just carry on talking. So what I was about to show you is a document that allows me to map. There you go. That's what it's called. Yeah. All right, cool. I found it. All right. So yeah, this is something that I've never shown anyone. I won't say never shown anyone, but yeah, I can't remember if I have. But this is a document that allows me to understand different rhythms and different cycles of time. So one of my biggest cycles, as I said, is this cycle of 13, because of my respect to want to rebalance and add in the moon into my seasons. So I basically have got certain master numbers that I hold sacred more than others because of what, for whatever reason. Like, I can explain them all very, very logically, but I'm not going to do that today. But I've basically got a set of numbers that I believe to be almost especially divine, let's just say, based on just all the patterns and synchronicities that I've looked and correspondences that I've looked at. There's a certain set of numbers that I believe to be more sacred than others. And so 13 is one of these numbers, just to be 100% clear. 13 is one of these numbers. And so I've mapped out this number 13 across loads of different ways. So we can just count up the ways. 16 different ways I've chopped up this number 13. So if you can see that number 16 at the bottom. So yeah, I've chopped up the number 16 into 16 different synchronicities or 16 different correspondences, depending on what I want to do. So this is how crazy, like, I'm just, yeah. Hopefully by now people are used to how mad I am in terms of the level of detail that I go to, but this is just me. It's what I enjoy to do. You could do what you want to do in life. So, but yeah, basically, I can break down 13 into its dimensions, into its tones. So tones is the Mayan calendar system, into deities, into seasons. If I want to basically manifest something from a power perspective, I break it down to 13. If I want to act on something, if I want to manifest a certain type of action, if I want to manifest a certain type of action, then I would work with this line here. If I wanted to focus and return back to my essence, I would work on this particular cycle. I would work on this line. If I wanted to go into inquiry, I remember I said quest is an ion, quest is energy, a quest is the journey into self, basically, because all is self and self is all. So if I wanted to go into a contemplative, meditative state, I would ask myself 13 questions based on a 13 sequence, so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I would basically work on a 13 cycle system. So at some point, like I said, for people that want to kind of, like, when I start, I don't know, whether it is this Discord group or this Facebook chat group or a version of Patreon, because again, I don't know if I'm going to charge for stuff. Like, at some point I need to start charging for stuff, but I'm not sure. Like, at this moment in time, I'm just vibing with it. So we haven't decided, but either way, I would basically give people access to my databases, of which I have thousands and thousands and thousands of information, and I know how to use these bits of information. It's not random. There is a method to every single bit of information I've put in there. So yeah. So yeah. All right, anyway, so yeah, we work off of the 13 cycle system. So again, if anyone's actually interested in this stuff, you can just email me and get in contact with me. You'll book a 10-minute taster session. Like, literally, you know, you could just book it. You could just ask me. I'm trying to be as open as possible, like, because I want to build a community. Eventually I want to build a team. And so in order for me to build a team, I need people to actually understand this stuff at a pretty decent level, so they can potentially teach it themselves to other people and spread the message of whatever I'm trying to spread for that day. So anyway, let's get out of ChatGPT. We don't need that. All right, cool. So that was a 13 cycle. Let me move this up here. Just checking the chat. All right, cool. So yeah, I haven't even went past the first. I'm not going to go into any more of these for now, just because I want to get it moving. But I did make a mistake here. This is the G number day is 3, not 5. So it's the number of the 3. Like, that's my personal number. So I've worked out how many days old I am, and I've added that into the system. So I've made the system personal. So my personal number for today is the number 5. But I just deleted it. I deleted the wrong line, basically. So anyway, so yeah, let's go over this. So yeah, this is the stuff that I kind of spoke about this stuff already. So we're obviously in the 13th, the 5th cycle. We're obviously in the 13th day cycle, the first day of the 13th day cycle. So I've already spoke about that. Spoke about that already. Spoke about this. So yeah, this is all freestyle, but yeah, I've already spoken about this. Advanced science. All right. Stabilizers are off, people, with this one. I told you that. Yeah, at some point I'm going to take off the stabilizers. So this is one of those conversations. Let's make this as big as possible. All right. It's really important. Pay attention. When we're understanding rhythms, to understand harmony, to understand flow, we need to introduce another new word that I've not said once today. And that is ratios. A ratio would be akin to like music. So if you're into hip hop, they call it 16 bars. They have 16 bars. There's 4 bars, 4 beats per bar. Yeah. 4 beats per bar. I've actually never worked that out. I want to see that number. I'm so lazy. Let's get a calculator out. I had a feeling, but I wasn't 100% sure. The number 64 again. So the number 64 is obviously chess. That's 8. It's an 8 number. Obviously 8 times 8 is 64. So when we're talking about a resonator, so 64 is an 8 resonator. 64 is also a square number. So the shape of this number is a square. To get an advance, but like this is how we see. This is how you have to start seeing numbers. You have to see numbers as their color, as their vibration, as their shape, or what we call form or geometry. And so this is the levels of detail that I enjoy going to. So when I see the number 64, I see a square, because 8, it's an 8 by 8 square or matrix or grid. Yeah. So this 16 times 64. So you could say that hip hop is trapped in that number at the 8. Because we talk about 16 bars is for me. I don't know if it's any other cultures, but for me. I'm decent at chess, but I'm natural at chess. I've never read a chess book, and I've never read a chess book, so I don't know the moves technically, but yeah, I can hold my own from a common sense perspective. Jizza. Yeah, the technical one. Wu-Tang, yeah, obviously I met Killer Priest. I spoke to Killer Priest. Wu-Tang Clan. So yeah, anyone that knows me, that knows that Killer Priest is my favorite artist, knows that Wu-Tang is my favorite group. I am a Wu-Tang baby. Like, so yeah, you just mentioning Jizza in the chat. Yo. Jizza, you know. So yeah, Jizza is the technical one. He's not actually my favorite from Wu-Tang Clan, but yeah, I respect Jizza probably the most. And yeah, he has some of the hardest bars that are available. But yeah, I'm a Wu baby. Yeah, I'm a Wu baby as well. So yeah, we're family. There you go. We're family. And yeah, Wu-Tang Forever is my favorite ever album. There you go. Done. As I was explaining on the Killer Priest show, I was guiding in a little bit. That's how I kind of started me talking about Wu-Tang. How could I not? Heaven Razor. Wow, you know about Hellraiser as well? Yeah, okay, cool. You're yeah. Okay, you're serious. He's got one of my favorite tunes of about 10 years. He's got one of my favorite tunes. Like, if you remind me when we do our meeting, I'll try and pull it up for you, because this tune it's one of my favorite tunes of all time. Heaven Razor. It's an incredible tune. But it's like, yeah, anyway. If you start getting me talking on hip hop, I'll be here for another 2 hours. So let's keep it moving. All right. So what we have is the ratios. So this 1320 becomes now a ratio. Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, this 1320 becomes a ratio. How you turn it into a ratio is by dividing each number, or you could times them. You could do whatever. You could subtract it, you could times it, you could add it. But dividing would be probably the first go-to that you would do, or multiplication, depending on what you're looking to do. And so what we see is that this works off of a cycle of 65. So this 13 divided by 20 is 0.65. Obviously the noughts are not counted, so it works off of a 65, which then goes back into the 130. That's my life path number. And I've probably said that a couple of times. My life path number is a 130, which is 2 cycles of 65. You see how it works now? 2 times 65 is 130. So I'm looking at this system and I'm like, well, I must be tapped into this system then. Like I'm so tapped into this system. It's unbelievable. Like, but then I'll get into one of the things where I just keep talking about myself for so long. But I've looked at my rhythms and I'm completely tapped into the mind system. That's why I'm able to unlock so many codes, because I'm tapped into what? A galactic frequency. And then obviously 130 times 2 or 4 cycles of 65 gets you back to the, so in Jose Arguelles' breakdown of the mind cycle, he has a 52 cycle of 5. So 5, this is why this number is such a beautiful number, 260. Because obviously we've just seen the harmonic of the 65, and then we've got 65 times 4 equals 260. And then we've got the 52 times 5, but it equals 260. So this 260 is a harmonic number from the 65 and 52. So there is also a 65 pattern going at play as well as a 52 pattern going at play. You have to understand divisors. You just need to understand what divisors are, basically. What numbers can make up a certain number. That's basically what I'm kind of doing now. And then we're saying that the 1260 cycle, this cycle is actually magical. Like, don't think that I'm not understanding how magical the 1260 cycle is. It's a different rhythm, and I can't break it down today. But if you want to go deep into it, you would look into Michael Rodin. You would look into Michael Rodin, and you would look into base 9. When you turn this 1260 cycle into a base 9 system, you will see magic. If you want to see magic in numbers, you would Google Michael Rodin, and you would understand how this 60 cycle goes into this 9 cycle, which also goes into a 24 cycle. And obviously we work off of 24 hours in a day. So the 60 goes into the 24, that goes into the 9, but it's only based on when you work on a 9 cycle. So you could still say to a degree we're kind of out of sync. But yeah, 12 divided by 60 is 2, which is obviously, you know, to get back to the 1 is 5, which again is the pentagram. So you could say that the base 60 cycle works well with the pentagram because it works off of a 5 cycle. And the 5 ratio on 360 is a 5 ratio. I swear down, I'm getting a bit too advanced, but I'm not explaining none of this stuff. Like I feel like I'm being a bit unfair at this moment in time. But if you understand what I'm saying, you will understand that everything that I just said there is literally the codes to you creating magic. If you just understand that Michael Rodin stuff. Again, if I start going into that, this is that I can't do Michael Rodin. I would have to do Michael Rodin justice. Like I couldn't just, I have to like speak about it in passing. Because if I start speaking about Michael Rodin, I need to be here for like an hour to speak about the science of that. At least an hour. I probably need to do a whole video on it. Because Michael Rodin, you start understanding Michael Rodin science, you start understanding the torus field, which will start allowing you to understand the torus field and how to create vortexes. I'm not joking. You can create vortexes with these numbers. Portals with these numbers. Again, go check out Michael Rodin if you've not heard of him before. Or wait till I drop a video on it. So, yeah, like I said, it works off of the 0.2. It works off of the 5. It works off of the sun. It works off of the torus. But the torus is mainly when you change it from a base 10 system to a base 9 system. This is the key, which is basically the Enneagram. So anyone that understands what the Enneagram is a personality test where there are 9 different archetypes based on a base 9 system. And again, it just allows you to tap into different types of magic. The whole universe is magic. Everything is divine. All is divine. Everything is fine. It's just, again, frequencies, resonance, harmonies, ratios, rhythm. So Anyway, that was that. I just need to give an ode. Again, most people have done this already, but I just need to give an ode to, so I can't even do this manually. I just need to give an ode to the snake. So anyone that's seen this video go out today, or anyone that's live, understand obviously we've just moved into the year of the snakes, New Year's, Chinese New Year today. So the Uraeus, shout out to the Uraeus. Shout out to the snake people out there. Shout out to the Nagas. To my Nagas. My Nuggers. Shout out to these people. So yeah, we move with a snake. The year of the snake, coming out of the year of the dragon, the wood dragon, into the year of the wood snake. Again, in my 2025 video, I break down the snake. I break this all down. So I'm not going to do it today. But again, pivotal year, transformation. The snake represents transformation and rebirth, of course. Of course it does. So let's just get back up. And obviously that 52-day cycle that we're moving into now, the 5th cycle, is about transcending. So it's a real powerful time. We're in transcending and transforming. The time of transcending and transforming. Now is the time. As we approach. And then so we've got the I Ching. So in the I Ching system, it kind of works off of a 5-day cycle to a degree, like roughly 5 days. It works out. It works to. So again, the I Ching is the oldest divination system that we know to man. And in the I Ching, it's beautiful because it works with a 64. So we just spoke about the 4 beats, you know, the beats. And we spoke about the bars, spoke about a bit of hip hop, spoke about the 64. So again, remember, I'm doing this live. Like, I've not really broken this stuff down. I kind of just built this, like I said, kind of doing stuff in real time in terms of the decoding or the encoding. And so we're getting another beautiful synchronicity with a 64, because in the I Ching, there are 64 gates. So just like you have the 12 planets in the I Ching, there are 64 different components, different elements, or what they call gates, entry points to return back to home, entry points to return back to self. I got my dragon from last year. Me too. Me too. So, all right, cool. So, yeah. So again, kind of just like do this basically. Again, if you want to see the maths of stuff, you just work out ratios. It's not really that difficult. So yeah, every single 5.7 and a bit of change, we move into a new gate within the I Ching. So right now we are in the, well, definitely on the first anyway, we are going to be in the gate of the approach, which is gate number 19, which is about approaching things. Then we move into fellowship, then we move into revolution, then we move into clinging, and then we move into abundance. So again, if we wanted to work off of a rhythm of a 5, so this is when we so when you come to me with a reading, and somehow like I've started to do it on almost all of my readings now. I kind of work out your rhythm there and then. Like, you know, practice. It's going to take practice, and I'm working on some massive stuff in the background that if it comes to fruition, life-changing. But, you know, until it happens, I'm not going to say nothing. So anyway, and this will allow me to find out people's rhythm physiologically, biologically. Physical devices that will allow me to know your rhythm physically in real time. Yeah. Yeah, the universe allows me to get my hands on these tools. Yeah, forget about even what I'm saying now. Like, we're gonna go into another universe, like, with this stuff. But anyway, like I said, we wait for divine timing. We see if it comes to fruition. If not, we keep it moving. So what I'm basically saying is, if you were enjoying, i.e. the sun, which works off of the 5, if you're enjoying Venus, which works off of the 5, you see what I mean? Then you would also work with the I Ching, because the I Ching is linked to the 8. The 8 is linked to time, and the I Ching works off of a cycle of roughly 5 to 6. or 5.7, which is also a resonator of 57. So the I Ching is real powerful. It's one of the most powerful divination systems on the planet right now. There's no ifs or buts about that. Yeah, just no ifs or buts about that. You got to work with this stuff to kind of know how powerful they are, quite honestly. But yeah, you could basically work off of a system where you work with these particular energies. Like, okay, for this month, for these next 5 days or 5.7 days, I'm going to think about how I think about my approach. Then I'm going to take that approach and I'm going to think about how I take that approach into my fellowship, how to build into building partnerships. Then I'm going to take that partnership and I'm going to see how we build a revolution, how these partnerships are going to cause a revolution, a revolution. Once I've built a revolution, I'm going to see how I create a what? A religion, because a religion just means to bind back, which would be a clinging. So I need to be careful of what I cling to. I'm doing this all real time, by the way. I need to be careful of what I cling on to. Then, once I understand what I'm clinging on to, or once I've attached myself to what I'm clinging on to, I'm then now going to do it with abundance. You see, I just did that there. Literally, I just did this real time. I'm not trying to say I did anything major, like, but again, I create my story. So I'm creating my story in real time of how I'm going to be working with the I Ching with a bit of foresight, looking at the 5 cycles or the 5 energies that are going to be coming into play for the month of February. And I broke it down perfectly. That how I just broke that down is one interpretation or one narrative. You could maybe read this and look at your own narrative. But the narrative that I see a perfect alpha to omega. Or what I would even say alpha to alpha, because you've got the 2 A's there. So approach back to an abundance. How am I going to approach abundance? So over the next 28 days, again, the only month that actually works with the moon, that actually works in rhythm with the 7, that actually works in rhythm with the 28, that works in rhythm with some of these pattern, these recognized patterns, I would be thinking about, how am I going to approach abundance? Because sometimes God plays a sick joke by giving you what you wish for. And it would only become a sick joke if you didn't slow down your approach, if you weren't considering the approach and actually being careful about what you're praying for, how that then influences your environment and the things around you and the relationships, how that ultimately starts to bring you back to yourself, the revolution. And then, like I said, the clinging and abundance. So, you know, we don't need to keep on going into it. Ignore the stuff at the end. Like, I just didn't have time to delete it. Yeah, so ignore that for now. It's a bit that stuff for the day. That's like energy for the day. So we can break down stuff for the day. So my calendar, I look at my calendar every single day to look at the day's energy. But obviously it's a month reading, and I don't think I'm ever gonna, again, until I get enough people interested, that gives me the energy to actually wake up in the morning at 6:30 and then what's it called, do videos for people. Then at the moment I'm just doing private journals where I do my daily readings, but I just keep them to myself. I'm not really sharing them with the public, but I'm basically doing, well, when I wake up early enough, I'll do a reading for the day, and then I record my readings, and that's basically my personal journal. So anyone that works with me in my inner circle has to journal. It's like non-negotiable, basically. So anyway, that's where it ends. This is all the readings from a month. So I basically broke down the whole month and I didn't even release the video. Like, I think I produced the video. I can't remember. I basically did the whole month's worth of work for it and I didn't release it. I can't remember if I even recorded it or not. But like, I went mad deep into it. And then this, oh yeah, because I was breaking down the week. Oh yeah, that was it. So this is my template for how I break down the week. So when I break down a week, I can get a bit more granular. Obviously, as I'm breaking down a month, I need to be a bit more top level. And obviously, if I'm breaking down a year, I'm going to be even more top level. So where the app really comes into its own is when I actually start breaking down the day. Quite honestly, that's when it just like goes into another realm, quite honestly. But yeah, like I said, for me to do that every day, I would need to feel a certain amount of energy, you know, feel a certain amount of love. It is what it is. So all right, I'm just gonna bring up my app quickly, and then I'm gonna, what's the time now? Okay, we're doing pretty well for time. We're doing pretty well for time. So yeah, I'm not gonna keep people here longer than they've been. Thank you very much for the people that have stayed for the whole show. I really do appreciate it. So let's bring up my app. All right, so just make sure it's today's one. All right, so what I've done is I've broken down February 2025. And again, remember, phonetically is how it's said. So the reason why I've put the 20 into the middle name is because we say the word 20 and then we say the word 25. So phonetically, this is what we do. And we're looking at, again, the first day of the second month, February. And I've obviously based it on where I live, which is London, UK. So these are the base numbers. Chaldean system, as I've said before, is more what I would call the spiritual system. The Babylonian system is the Chaldean system. These were master diviners. Chaldeans were master diviners. They were known for being the greatest diviners in the world, and their numerology system for me is the most powerful. So, and then we've got the Pythagorean system, which is, let's say, more Western, the most popular, and I would say is the most logical. It works with logic. So the way how I break this down is that this is obviously the right side of the brain. This is the left side of the brain. This would be the as above. This would be so below. This would be the female. This would be the masculine. This would be linear time. This would be, what was I saying? Divine time. So yeah, hopefully we're looking at the screen when I said that, because my mouse was everywhere. So, so yeah, in a nutshell, I see Chaldean as being the more spiritual, Pythagorean being more mundane. And so what we love at the moment with this 2025 is we get a beautiful harmony with the numbers, with the number 9. So Chaldean, the number February is the number 27. So just to be clear, we're doing gematria. Just again, if people have never don't know about this stuff. So each letter equals a number. You add those numbers up and you get it here. So the full first name here is 27, and we get the number 9. So 2 add 7 equals 9. We then go to the word 2025, we get the number 9. So I know all numbers are divine, as I've said many times, just about rhythms and cycles. But on the Chaldean, we've got the number 7 and we've got the number 9. I think it's in the year video that I break out the connection of the number 9 to the number 7. How I kept on seeing the number 9 linked in the number 7. I don't, and essentially 79 is the 79th element on the periodic table is gold. To be clear, AU, gold. And so we've got the 9 and the 7, or the 70 and the 9, however you want to reverse it, playing out in today's February the 20th, 2025. So real powerful numbers. The number of cycles, what did we speak about? We're speaking about cycles for the number 20, and then we're speaking about harmony. So you would basically just call that divine time or harmonic time, harmonic cycles. So February 2025 is about harmonic cycles. Today is the first video where I've taken off what the stabilizers to what the wheel, the gates, the spoke. Think about the universe as a hub, the gates. And I'm basically doing a video on the 29th, which again is a resonator of the 9. There's also a frequency of the 9, obviously it's 2 as well. It's an 11 as well. But essentially, it is also a 9. In the Chinese New Year of the snake, which is about rebirth and transformation. And I'm basically doing a video about you tapping into your rhythms, your natural rhythms. or creating your own rhythms from your now will, the present time will even. And so that's wonderful. That's really, really wonderful. We're really enjoying that. So I'm just going to focus on the Chaldean system because that's the one that's speaking to me the most. I'm not really, the Pythagorean system in particular is not speaking to me. I'm probably choosing for it not to speak to me, but it really isn't speaking to me in this particular instance. And so I'm not going to break it down because it just doesn't resonate with me. This is how I work with these systems. There's too much information in my reading for me to resonate with everything. I don't try to. I just focus on, I just follow spirit. I basically just follow spirit. So yeah, if anyone's got any questions, let me know. Yeah, so again, I'm just reviewing the chat, so I'll just get the chat up again. Let's make sure I've got it up at all times. So I'm only going to go into two systems. I want to look at Cardology and I Ching. The reason why I'm looking at Cardology is that in here, in the calendar system, we're in the season of Cardology. So in my divination system that I've created, each day also is linked to my divination system. So at the moment, we're in the season of Cardology. So I'm paying a lot of attention to Cardology, which is looking at the playing deck as a divination system. And it's beautiful. There is a beautiful synchronicity here because Cardology is linked to what? The number 52. There are 52 cards in a deck, or 53 if you count the Joker. But we'll go with the 52. You can go with the 53 as well. You can add the Joker. But again, the Joker would be the representative of the hidden number. The Joker could also be represented as the 0. Just like in the tarot, the Joker is at the beginning and the end. So to a degree, it's almost like it's not a number. But again, you know, you can view it both ways. But essentially, the number 52 is represented in Cardology. And the number 52 is perfectly harmonic, or Cardology is perfectly harmonic. So again, if anyone's never heard me do this, just hear this breakdown because you'll see the beauty of the rhythms. There are 52 cards. There are 2 colors which represent the duality. There are 52 cards which represent the 52 weeks. There are 13 cards per suit, which represents the 13 moons. And there are 4 suits which represent the 4 seasons. For me, Cardology is one of the strongest systems when it comes to me trying to show people the link between synchronicity, divination, and cycles of time or divine time. So if you just let that sit with you, if you let that sit with you, if you let that sit with you, you will be able to get pretty far in terms of how it all works, how all of these things work together in correspondence, in perfect harmony. So we look at the I Ching for the we look at the Cardology for the day. I'm not going to go into all of this because this will take me hours. Well, I won't say hours, but it'll take me a while to download, to decode it. So all I'm going to do and just go is and just say that what kicks off this particular day, i.e. February the 1st, is the Jack of Diamonds. So the Jacks would be seen as Inshallah. Inshallah. And if you don't, then you don't. Like, I get on with it. Like, yeah, I just have to say that. So someone just put something in the comments, you know, some real kind words in the comments. And it's a new name as well. I don't feel like I've seen this name before. But yeah, and if I have seen it before, yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, I feel like I've not seen this name before. So yeah, welcome to my channel. And if you have heard of me before, then yeah, hopefully you're used to me by now. So but essentially, we have this at our fingertips. Like I have these tools at my fingertips. So I'm not operating from a place of lack or desperation. Like I have fun every day. Like I just need to open up these tools. And I'm like a kid in a candy shop with this stuff, quite honestly. And more importantly, I know how to use it in my actual daily life, which is more important. But if I don't want to, and I just want to be a big kid, i.e. a jack of diamonds. So look, understanding the jack of diamonds, that would play out perfectly in terms of what I'm speaking about, which is I can't lose because I'm so innocent with it. The jack would represent the fool. The jack would represent the or the joker represents the fool, but the jack represents the child, basically. The king obviously is the father, the queen is the mother, the jack will represent the child. So the beginning of a divine energy, but because it's a royal card, so it's a royal card, so we're talking about its royalty. So we're talking about this youthful innocence in its royalty being a diamond, and diamond represents value. So I innocently, or this month, if you're into Cardology, and I've said that this is the Cardology is the system for the month, in particular, and also I Ching as well. These are the main two main systems for the month, based on my oracle system. Then the Jack of Diamonds represents the beginning, the divine inspirational idea. So quite honestly, my tech was just built off of a divine idea, and I ran with it 100 miles an hour. I'm not joking. Like, I'm sure you lot have seen a little bit, you know, a little bit peeking. I'm showing you a little bit of a peek of the stuff. I'm running 100 miles an hour with it, just from one idea, innocently. You could even argue naively, like, who am I to like think of these things? Who am I to? What right do I have to create these kind of things? Because you could really look at this stuff from a real egotistical thing, from an egotistical point of view. Why did this guy just not follow the Kabbalah? Why did he not just follow Christianity? Why did he not only combine systems, but why did he even create his own oracle system? Not saying from scratch, because obviously I'm using other systems as well. But like, obviously there's nothing new under the sun to a degree, so there's only so much we can't create anything, we can only make things, but that's another conversation. But why did he decide to make these things? And I'm saying because at some point because a lot of that energy is this Jack of Diamonds. I see the value in just being useful and just working off of divine inspiration. So for me, this would be the key card where curiosity is king. And obviously I'll be king of diamonds, but you know, like, curiosity is king. Let's just run with it. Because that curiosity is that birthing of energy, is that new energy. And so this month is about tapping into divine inspirational ideas, tapping into your divine inspiration. Do you see the value in your divinity? Do you see the value of exploring and tapping into your divinity? You know, the inspirational idea. So yeah. Interesting. So yeah. So yeah, this ain't a spreadsheet, but these were built off of spreadsheets. So the reason why I've kind of kept it like this is because these were data tables. At one point, these were really boring black and white data tables, and I've had to obviously design them, like, you know, with my team and stuff. But yeah, it does have a spreadsheet kind of feel to it, but that's just because of a respect of me literally spending 4 years in spreadsheets, nothing else really. So yeah, tablets. I don't get it. What's going on? I'm gonna take it. Yo, that is going crazy. Yeah, my mouse is going crazy at the moment. I don't know what's going on. F9. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we're back. All right, we'll just go with the universe didn't want me to show that, so I'm gonna skip. All right, cool. I was gonna show you the etymology of that word because it's pretty interesting, but it's fine. But yeah, tables and tablets, it's cool. But we go with the Excel. these were built off Excel sheets and we're trying to Excel. Like, there you go. Like, there was this one time when I built up a whole metaphor and a story around Excel and what Excel sheets are. Like, there's one day where there is one day. So basically, let's just say I've got a few themes in my head that will be repetitive themes. So once a month, I'm going to break down a month, just like I'm doing today. One of the themes is where I break down certain words, or I might break down a number, and I'll just do a deep dive on it, breaking down one number and just taking a whole hour or 2 hours or however long I feel like taking to break down a number, to break down a word or whatever. And so one of the things that I want to break down, because I've done it a little bit, like in my own research, but I didn't do it fully, is breaking down Excel, this word Excel, that then taps into Excel sheets, that then taps into something, the lotus, taps into the lotus, it taps into cells, taps into prisons. Yeah, anyway, but yeah, today's not the day for it. So anyway, where are we? Jack of Diamonds. All right, we're coming off of that now. And then we're going to go into the I Ching, because again, that was a whole bunch of stuff. But I don't want to go into all of I Ching. I'm just going to go up to about here. Because if I start looking at it all, then I will just start getting too happy, because I love the I Ching. The I Ching system, I absolutely love. I could spend a whole hour just talking about it. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to just like... We spoke about... All right, go on. I'll go up to Saturn. Just because we're speaking about time. So I will go up to Saturn. But yeah, I'm trying not to distract my own self in terms of coming up with too much info. All right, cool. So we have 64 gates. Each planet is linked to a gate, similar to astrology, that these hexes would represent your houses. Yeah. So each gate would represent a house. So imagine your birth chart on a 365-degree wheel. Sorry, on a 360-degree wheel. So in that 360-degree wheel, we're chopping it up into 64 sections. Excuse me. Sections, or what we call gates. And in some of these gates, we obviously have, just like how you have houses in astrology, or signs in astrology, you would have these 64, and then you would have the planets. So when you were born, this is a snapshot. So when we take a snapshot of the 1st of February, this is where the planets are in relation to the gates based on the I Ching overlaying. So the I Ching overlays the astrological houses and replaces the houses. That's essentially how this works. That's kind of like the back end science of how it works, basically. So on the 1st of February, the sun will be in the approach. So when I had this here, and now you see the synchronicity, it was not even synchronicity, but now you see the connection. We had the sun in approach. So when I was like, oh, we're in the season of approach, all we're doing is tracking the sun, just to be clear. We're not tracking any of the other planets with any of these. These are all tracking the sun, but obviously with the sun being the most dominant energy on the planet, for many reasons, it's a bit obvious. I shouldn't need to explain that. So obviously with the sun being the most dominant energy, it makes sense to follow the sun or look at how the sun is moving. And so we have the approach, i.e. again, the 19. So again, you saw that before. So you see the 19. You see the 19. Just give me 1 second for a second. I just want to go back to that. Which is also the 119th day, which is again a 19. So I just, again, just making sure that we're staying on point with synchronicity. So we have this 19 again represented twice. We have this 19 again representing twice. And essentially, if you wanted to go into the archetype, it's even asking you to be a role model. So it's how do we become a leader with our approach? How do we approach leadership? Is also what it's speaking about. What are the sacrifices that you will need to make in order to approach this energy for the month? Clearly, it's asking that you give a gift of sacrifice. It's the gift line. once you tap into sacrifice for this month, you potentially are able to see the light where skit the earth wasn't. Yeah, you got to write that one again. I don't know what you're saying there. You got to write that one in English. I don't know what that means. So, reverence, and most people revere the sun, you know, sun worship. I'm not saying to worship the sun, by the way, please don't. I'm not saying to worship the sun. Don't worship anything. Worship is worship. But we can see the beauty in everything, you know, reverence. 36 being the other part. You need to explain that a bit more. 36 being the other part of what? I'm not sure what you're talking about. So yeah, that would be the sun. And then I feel like just going into of 6, 36 being the other part of 6. Yes. Yes. Okay, I get you. So I think you're someone, so yeah, you may have listened at the beginning or at the middle part when I was talking about how the 36 is a 3 and 6, with the 3 being the outer part, or the male energy, or the out, let's call it the out. And then the 6 being the inner energy, or the female energy, the returning back. So obviously we start from the out and work our way inwards to center, i.e. to the soul, to the 0 point. So we have Saturn in hex 22, the master number hex, the master builder. And so because I just feel like focusing on time, and obviously, you know, Saturn is master time, Chronos, where you get chronology from, or time basically. Time is Sonus, time is Saturn, Chronos. Yeah, it's all the same thing basically. We need to tap into our grace. So we need to become graceful. Beautiful. That's a lovely synchronicity that we'll take from it. So obviously we're talking about rhythm. When we speak about people that are graceful, for me, in my mind, I'm focusing on rhythm. I think of like how people move. Like when you look at somebody moving gracefully, think about it. They're moving gracefully. It wouldn't be forced. There would be a certain rhythm and harmony that allows them to move in sync with whatever flow that you're thinking that they're moving in. And so I'm saying that this month is asking you to move gracefully. But in order for you to move gracefully, you will need to drop some of your baggage, some of the heaviness. So what I'm basically saying is, what is the excess weight? What are the excess cycles? What are the excess, what are the excess aspects of time, especially linear time, that we're carrying around, which means that we're not moving in grace? That would be a question to yourself to contemplate as we approach this season. And then look, the earth. So I'm talking about the number 52. So look, it's just synchronicity. I can't help myself with the synchronicity stuff. But like, this is, yeah, and kid in the candy shop stuff. So we have the earth here, which I'm saying the earth is related to the number 52 seasons. And we're saying that the purpose of the earth is in the line number 33. God blimey. So gate number 33. How are you not seeing this? I'm literally gonna quit after. I'm gonna stop the video after this, because like, this is the kind of stuff that actually gets my spine tingling. But I'm basically saying that Saturn is on the master gate of 22, i.e. the master builder, and then Earth is on 6. So my guy in the chat, or girl in the chat, Triple C, who is a 3, by the way, Oh, I broke you down last time, innit? Yeah, yeah. I think I remember this. I feel like I'm getting deja vu when I was breaking you down with the triple three, breaking that down as a 9. But you're talking about the 6. The C is a 3. You're talking about the 36 as well, which is obviously a 9. The 36 being a 9. I don't know why. I'm not sure why you're speaking about the 36. I still don't actually know why you just started with the 36. But anyway, we're here now, and I'll just go with it. I'm saying basically, you've got the 36, which is you, because you're a 9, because you've got the triple C, which is obviously 3 times 3. We're talking about harmony, and the harmony is harmony is hex number or gate number 33. And this whole video, as I've said, is about rhythm and harmony. We've got the grace line. So we're saying that your purpose for this month is to move in harmony. You couldn't really get 2 more synchronistic words. Look, I mean, you could just look at it yourself to see if I'm making this up. Like, am I going crazy here, or am I just making this up? Or does, out of all of these eight different archetypes that you see, remember, these are just archetypes or entry points into the one, could you see any more that link together than majesty and grace? Because I don't. And they're the only ones that for some reason I chose to pick out. I don't know why I chose to pick them out. I didn't even see the number 32. I just felt like picking it out. So we've got the master number of the 55. Sorry, the master number of the 22. We've got the master of the as above, so below through the perfect triangles, i.e. the hexagon. And then we've got the 19, which is sun. The 19th card in tarot is sun, by the way, just to blow your mind further. I'll say that one again for those that weren't listening. The number 19, the 19th tarot card is the sun. The 19th gate is in the sun. These two are not correlated. Like, it could be different. Like, if in a month's time, if you were to look at this, the 19th hexagram might be in the moon, for example. So this is just pure, again, quote unquote, synchronicity. In the symbol of the U. I don't even normally go into the symbols, but that is the U. And anyone that's watched my last 3 videos, I showed you Wheeler's U. I showed you Wheeler's U. That's Wheeler U. That guy was the Einstein at the time. This guy's the Einstein at the time. This guy's one of the fathers of quantum physics. And I'm saying that the universe exists to know itself. Yeah. Sometimes an image makes 1,000 words. I'm going through the chat. All right, sorry, just give me 1 second. Yeah, of course, moon is 6. C is for the 3rd letter. It's an actual 3 sun cross. 3 sun cross. I think I get that. My sun was 22 sun at design. Personality 45. Which my ID design is 2025. I'll tell you that you are in line with this year. 2025 is the number 45 in gematria. 2025. Sorry, 25, apologies. The number 25, and we're in the year of the 25th year. The only thing that changed, obviously the 20 hasn't changed. The only thing that changes 25 is the number 45, just to be clear as well. So yeah, you're tapped in. You're tapped into this year. You're here. You're here for a reason. So yeah, welcome. So anyway, and then we have 19. So like I said, the 19 is linked to the sun, which is in radiance, which is obviously about radiance. Obviously, the sun's about radiance. That's obvious. We have the U, the symbol for the hexagram for the. I'm not going to explain this today, but yeah, the hexagram for it is the U, and yeah, we have reverence, majesty. So yeah, I'm gonna finish up. Like, I feel like finishing because I'm full. my spirit is well fed and my ego can rest for one more day for a night. So yeah, like I said, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Because this channel is just about having fun, quite honestly. Like, the channel's about having fun, but my spiritual work offline is a little bit more serious. But on these channels, I'm just having fun. Like, I'm having fun with this. But like, today I met someone that was clinically depressed. You know, like suicidal level depressed. So there is that balance. And like, the work is important. But yeah, like, don't think that I'm not using this stuff to like help people in a real serious way. I just am at the level where I can have fun with it personally. But obviously that's a state, that's a level. And obviously this person calling out the 36, I can't help but not help them and just talk about that. The 36 gate on February the 2nd is in Venus, which obviously is about love. And so you yourself focus on the 36, I'll give you that bar. And then you focus on the 6. Look, look at the synchronicity. I can't help it. I didn't make this up. You chose the number 36, yeah? And then the number 36 is in the 6 archetype. So there's a gate, but then these are the archetypes. These are, let's say, the personalities that you need to bring in order to manifest the 36. So if you want to basically play with this number 36 and bring it into its full power, you would want to tap into it from a leadership perspective. So how do I be a leader of compassion with this energy? How do I serve humanity, but through a compassionate way, in a real role model way, responsible way? Basically, how do I do that? You know you're not tapped into this love. You know you're not tapping into this love if you keep on dimming your light. So the opposite of what you want to do, if you want to tap into the love of this number 36, this 36 gate, you would want to make sure you're not dimming your light. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, like I said, let me just wrap up now. So yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for joining. It's been a pleasure. Like I said, I'm really happy that I went live and didn't speak to a camera by myself with this stuff. Definitely I felt the energy of the live chat. So yeah, I will be doing this again. I'll be going live next week again, roughly around, well, should be the same time unless something comes up. But yeah, every Wednesday, 7:30 UK time. I think I'm only gonna go once a week live at the moment, I think. But again, I'm still kind of playing about the idea of going twice a week, live twice a week or live once a week. But yeah, I think I'm in the mood for going live once for a while, because like I said, I've got a lot of offline work that I'm doing in terms of like spiritual healing and just helping people and stuff like that. But yeah, before I babble on anymore, after I wrapped up this funny, wow, I can do the same as you. Yeah, no, you're having fun with it as well. 3rd of Feb is my birthday. Okay. I wonder what year. Yeah. 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 3rd of Feb. 2-3. Perfect 5th. So you're born on a day of the perfect 5th. 81. Okay. 81. 1 year older than me. Yeah. So yeah, obviously, yeah, you don't know that I could just state in here, like, I love doing readings. Like, that's what I'm saying. I want people to reach out to me. I've got a reading to do after this, actually. I need to go because I've got a reading literally. I don't know if this person is in the chat now, but I said watch my live and then I'll be ready to do the reading straight away. And I said I'll be finishing in roughly about 10. So I'm actually in perfect time. I'm gonna go make myself a cup of tea. Is the person that I'm going to be doing a reading for in the chat? I don't want to blow up your name because I don't know if you want to keep it private or not. But it would be nice if they just let me know that they're in the chat, so that means I know how whether I need to hurry up or not. But yeah, I've got a reading to do after this, and then I'm gonna go bed. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this content. Like I said, I hope you lot are enjoying this content. You can clearly see that we've got way deeper to go, but it's not necessarily about the deepness. It is, again, if I'm trying to wrap up things, it's like, how can you use divination? How can you use synchronicity on a daily basis? That's basically it. How can you use these systems to transform yourself? We're in the year of the snake. So yeah, let me go big. Let me go big for the last. Oh rah, yeah, you were pressing the wrong buttons, boy. How do you transform? If it's not about transformation, just ask yourself, am I wasting my time? Is this something that I need to sacrifice? Should I sacrifice this time so I can tap more into my transformation? Or can I maybe use this time that I have to focus more on my transformation? It's essentially what we're asking for. That's what the snake is asking for. The Ouroboros. How do we tap back into ourselves? How do we feed off of our own energy without killing ourselves? The only way we could do that is by tapping into our divine time. There is no other way. Otherwise, we would eat ourselves to death. Like, yeah, let's not even go there. But yeah, we would kill ourselves because we are constantly losing energy. So in order to stop constantly losing energy, we need to tap into divine times, divine cycles, divine rhythms, move into our grace, move into our harmony. See how it's all linking together now. Real simple, people. So without further ado, until the next time, grace and harmony. Grace and harmony. Peace.